In this video, we will look at the historian tile. As mentioned in other videos, the Canary historian is a proprietary NoSQL time series database which other Canary services are built around. The historian tile allows the user to view the data stored in the historian and make configuration changes to its datasets. Let's take a look. When we first open the historian tile, we are presented with its datasets. Datasets act as a folder structure organizing the data that comes from different data sources. As a best practice, it is recommended that each data source write to its own dataset or sets if needing more than one. Two data sources should never write to the same dataset, as this may interfere with certain historian functionality. If the dataset is being actively written to, the tile will display the number of tag writers and updates per second. Likewise, it will also display the number of tag readers if a client is reading data from the dataset. With the tile selected, we can see general information about the dataset, including the number of tags, readers, writers, and directory of where the data is stored on the server. If we double-click or select the arrow, we will drill into the next level of the dataset. Now we are presented with the individual historian database files, or HDB3s. By default, these files are created each day at midnight in a process known as a file rollover, during which the current file is closed and validated, and a new one is created for the next day. The clock icon on a tile indicates that the file has been modified and is waiting to be validated by the background validation process. This is to be expected on the most recent file if it is being actively written to. With the tile selected, we can see its properties in the file window, including the number of tags, the file path, and size. Canary places a file size limit of 500 megabytes. If a file were to exceed this amount, the historian would roll over and create another file for that day. Although it is not uncommon for this to happen, it is recommended to avoid this scenario as it may affect long-term performance of the system. The best way to do this is by limiting the number of tags that are logged in a single dataset. 25,000 tags per dataset is a conservative limit. Next, we will drill down one more level where we finally get to the tags. The user can search for a tag using keywords separated by spaces and prepend keywords with an exclamation mark to remove it from the search. Selecting a tag from the list, we see its individual updates on the right. Each update is composed of a timestamp, value, and quality, or TVQ as they refer to in Canary. Canary logs data by exception when either the value or the quality of the tag changes. If a tag is static, the historian will time extend the last non-bat value about once per minute. If a tag has properties, they will be displayed in the Properties window in the bottom left. Next, we will look at the configuration screen. The buttons up top allow the user to create a new dataset, scan a directory for a dataset, rename a dataset, or remove a dataset. With the exception of the OPC DA collector, a dataset does not need to be created prior to logging to it. The collector will create the dataset when logging begins if it doesn't already exist. When removing a dataset, the user will be prompted with a confirmation screen where they can then choose to remove it and delete its data. If the box is checked, all data pertaining to the dataset will be deleted. Be aware, this cannot be undone. If the box is left unchecked, the data files will remain and only the dataset removed from the historian's knowledge. A dataset cannot be renamed or removed if it is in use. Clicking the Scan button, the user can browse a directory for HDB3 files. Doing so will bring the dataset into existence. This is often used when migrating a dataset from one machine to another. With the dataset selected, we can configure its settings on the right. By default, validation is enabled. This should only be disabled when needing to prevent the automatic background validation from occurring for troubleshooting purposes. Next, the user can configure an alert to be sent if the dataset stops receiving data within the time allotted. In order for this email transaction to occur, the Canary system must be configured to do so through the Messages tile. Next, we have rollover. As previously stated, Canary generates daily files as controlled by this setting. Unless instructed by Canary, there's no need to change this. The rollup setting allows the historian to take daily files and combine them into larger weekly or monthly files. This is mainly for file management and does not enhance system performance. If a rollup would result in a file that exceeds 500 megabytes, multiple files would still need to be created. In that case, it is best to leave this disabled. Finally, the user can choose to delete an HTTP3 file after it exceeds the configured time limit, or move to another directory as specified in the settings screen. Once moved, the historian can no longer see its data until it is manually placed back in the original directory. That's all for the historian tile for now. Thanks for watching.